Welcome to the Peerless YouTube. I am Caitie North, and today we are doing something a little bit different. We are in Adele's studio in Washington, and she just taught me how to do abstract painting. That is her forte, and it is amazing because it's something completely out of my comfort zone. But we're going to teach her how to do some watercolor, which is completely out of her comfort zone. So like this one behind us, it's big and lots of movement and things, and you know, she gets to go all wild. So compared to very detailed watercolor, it's very different. So I think it's going to be really fun.
And I am very excited. Can't wait. Totally different. Never done watercolor before. So it's like go from every step I have to learn.
I love it. I think it's going to be so fun. So, okay. So, to get started, we are going to either draw or trace this, is it a maple leaf? It's a maple leaf,
Looks
right?
like it.
Yeah, it's a maple leaf.
Yeah.
So, we're going to do some kind of fall foliage that's been dried, obviously. And the idea is that we're not going to try and make this look like a realistic leaf, but we're going to more use it as a test to learn all of the different techniques in watercolor. So each kind of point that we have in the leaf is going to be a different technique.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So I think it should be fun.
Yeah.
So if you want to, all I did was lay it down and then trace it really gently around and however you want on your page, and then we'll start talking about colors.
This is so cool.
Yeah. So, and then a lot of the watercolors are, so I guess we could talk about the watercolors that we're using since you've never used Peerless before. Peerless is a company that has been around for over 100 years, and they still use the same exact formula to create their paint. It's all handmade paint, and they come on these sheets. So one side is the color that's stamped, and then the other side is a highly concentrated amount of watercolor paint. So to build our palette, we're going to have to decide what paints we want to use. And all that I do is cut a little, little square like this, and then tape it down onto an extra piece of watercolor paper, and it becomes a travel palette. So you can use this to remember paintings. Like if you're like, oh, I love the paintings, that specific painting, but you don't remember what color they used. If you write the painting's name on your color palette, you'll be able to go back and see what colors you used and see like that, you know, the color palette for that each painting.
That's a cool idea.
It's very fun. And then also if you have little ones, you can kind of give them a smaller amount of paint. Because once you kind of saturate a certain area of the paint, it kind of uses it up. So if you work with a smaller little bit, you can kind of stretch your paint a little bit further. So
I mean, look at these. I have never seen anything like this. Well, I don't do watercolor, but look at these.
And they're super vibrant, super jam-packed with pigment. So, and when you think of watercolors, you think of like super soft and like muted tones. These are like ridiculously vibrant. So
wow.
So
if you haven't bought any watercolor, you want these.
I mean, that's the other thing that I should say. I have been using these specific watercolors for, since 15 years.
Wow.
And then I've just started working for the company this last year. That should tell you how much I love them. And not to say, but I was the perfect fit for their person, because I'm like obsessed with these paints, and I've gotten so many people hooked on them. So we don't have to go, realistic colors, but we are going to do I'll do one how to get some muted tones too. Okay. But right now we're just going to make our palette. So this is your scissors. Okay. And we had tape. What did I do with it? I probably put it right here.
Yeah, we did have tape.
Yeah, right here.
Okay. Double-sided tape, right?
Double-sided tape. So you just want to make sure they're kind of hard, but whatever the lighter side usually is, that's the side you're going to tape down.
Okay. So should I cut out of this one first?
Yeah, whatever you want. We don't have to do, we can do the same colors, or we don't have to, but.
Okay. So the light in here, this is so cool.
Yeah, double-sided tape. That's it. And that's how you make your palette.
Yes.
So.
Okay.
And then, so you can tell, like when they're right here, they're pretty dark and you can't really tell the difference of them. But when you get them going, they're actually a lot of different color greens. So we got like an olive. This is more of like a yellow base or like blue base green. This is more of like the muted green. So
gosh, they're gorgeous.
I know, they're so pretty.
And so so the darker side is what we want?
The darker side. So if it has a stamp or kind of the lighter, this is the side with the paint. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So tape this side and then that side up.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. So the dark, Well, you really do have to remember how that.
Yeah, I mean, when you have like a little cut, you're like, oh, I can't really tell anymore. So
Yeah.
trying to remember them. Thank
There
you.
we go. Okay. So how many do we put on here?
Well, I mean, we're doing something similar like that. I probably kind of do an orange, a yellow, and a green, and then maybe we'll just throw in like a purple or a pink just to kind of see what it does.
Yeah.
Because I like to make the complementary tones, like the complementary tones of green would be a pink.
Okay.
And I like to do that for muted tones.
Okay.
So that having that available.
Oh, this one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. So that one there.
And I can tell it's coming off on my fingers, which I love.
It's super saturated. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they wear gloves whenever they're preparing the packs too, because there is a ton of paint. You can have that one. I think it's a darker orange.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I think that might be, maybe we'll do one blue and that should be plenty.
Okay. And how long can you use this again? Like once,
I like to start like in corners, but this is a pretty big leaf, so we're going to be filling up quite a bit.
Okay.
So you'll probably use all of this for this one bit. But
oh, okay.
yeah.
And so a blue, you said?
Maybe a blue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like this one over here?
Perfect. That's going to be our darkest. Jane's great. That's perfect. So we're going to use this as our shadow and deepest, darkest. So it is beautiful. Jane's gray is one of my favorites from Peerless.
And how many how does this?
80 colors. 80 colors total, but they come in different packs. So this one is the expressive face tone pack. And it's all for doing different colors of skin tones.
Now I forgot which one is the front of the dark one.
Very, very, very dark. Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
Like this, and I can put it over here.
Okay. Let's see. Do I have one more than you? Oh, I need a pink. And then I think I'm done too. Or is that the pink? 1, 2,
I don't
3,
know.
4. Oh, no, we're good.
3, 4, 5. Okay.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Okay.
Okay. So, let's see. Why don't we start... We'll do like as it's aging.
Okay.
That sounds fun.
Fun.
Okay. So now we have our paper towels, and then we're going to use our water reservoir brushes. So that one might be a little small. We're going to save that for details.
Okay.
So you're going to use that one.
Okay.
And I'll use this one. So these are water reservoir brushes. You press down until you come out with a drop of water, and then you have saturated. Oh, it looks like I had some blue on there. Saturated your brush. So instead of dipping every time.
Oh, these are awesome.
They're so fun, right?
Yes.
So it helps too, because when you're using watercolors, if your water is tinted anything, that's going to tint your watercolors too. So if it's a mucky brown water and you want a really bright, vibrant yellow, you're not going to get your bright yellow. The cool thing about these is every time you lay down paint, you get clean water.
Wow, so, these are amazing.
So to test your water brush
and
your paints for the first time, you just want to get it clean. And then as long as your brush is wet, you can start in a little bit of corner, and then you can see how bright.
And then you put it over here?
Yeah, how bright your colors are. And you can just go
through. Do you squeeze as you go down?
If you want a softer and more diluted and transparent paint, you squeeze more and more water comes out. Less paint, lighter color.
Okay.
And then if you want a brighter paint, try to keep it less water, more saturated with paint. And then you can see here.
Okay, now if I did this one, do I wipe this off to go to the next one?
If it's like to a green and you want to see the true color of the green, yeah. But if you want to mix the colors a little bit, you don't have to wipe it off. Does that make sense?
Oh, wow. Look at this.
And see, that's going to be our darkest tone. And when it's mixed with the darker tones, you can get almost a black. But that color is one of my absolute favorites just because of how pigmented it is. So look how bright that
I'm asking a million questions
because
I have no idea. Wow.
Aren't those bright?
I'm going to have to get some of these. Oh my gosh, I love this. So this is my palette.
That's your paint palette.
Gosh, I love it.
I mean, we're kind of using, they might be a little bright for dried leaves, but that's
I love it. Yeah.
Okay, so if we're thinking about this in stages of the life cycle, this first leaf, why don't we try to do more green? So let me do one little bit. I'm going to kind of cut it in half, actually.
Should I do exactly what you're doing?
Yeah, around the same, but you're gonna be able to kind of fill it up as we go too. So this first one, we're gonna be doing the technique that it's called wet on wet. So what we're trying to do is fill up this whole area with paint.
Okay.
And then while it's wet, we're gonna be adding different colors.
Okay.
And depending on how wet your paper is depending on how the colors are going to merge together and soften their blend. And you can kind of see too if you want to get like a sharper line, or like you can create, I'll show it too while we're doing it. Do little dots, you get these kind of fanned out snowflake looks. Yeah, so it's all, we're going to fill in, let's do like this side, that like half of this one right here.
Oh, I did the...
Yeah, that's fine. We're going to do that next one and a little bit different too. So that works out perfect.
See, mistakes are welcome.
No, they're totally welcome. All right. So then instead of just adding a little dot of water, you can just put water down right here and start filling it in.
Right here? Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
like this,
you can have paint on it, or it could just be water too.
Oh, okay.
So if you just fill up the first tip of it and then see how you can add more paint as it goes down.
Very cool.
And you could just kind of play with it. Do some blues, do some oranges, do some pinks. And then we'll kind of start after that. We'll put some more.
This is so much fun. And
isn't it pretty?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do a little bit. You could do a lot. And see, now this was always mostly water. This has a little bit more paint, and this is more saturated.
Okay.
And you can kind of get the...
I can see I can now see as I'm working on this exactly how to make the darker ones, like right from here.
Yeah, straight from there, and you get the more saturated.
Just adding some white here. Some water, I mean.
Yeah, and the paper comes into effect too. So this paper looks like it's sucking up the paint a little bit faster. If you have a little bit more of a higher quality of paper, it kind of puddles a little bit more. But yeah, all the different it kind of depends on what you're looking for. But then you can see as that's still wet. So if you take off all of that green.
Okay.
And then you get some orange.
Not orange? Okay.
And then, so it's already dried. Yours is still wet. So you can kind of do your drops.
Drops?
Yeah.
Like just drop it in here?
It's the wrong side. Yeah.
Like that?
How you can get like little sunspots almost.
Oh, like this. Like I just did like this.
Yeah.
Like that?
Yep, exactly. And then
that's cool.
as the amounts of it dries, once it dries, you'll be able to see it more. But you'll be able to see the different textures you can get. So now it's kind of giving that a little bit more of that fall color.
Do I mix this all in? Like
you can. Yeah, you can. So you can go all around the edges like this and create that texture. Okay. Those are more of the snowflakes that I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
This is like how it's almost started to dry. Let me see right here. How it's almost dry, and then it kind of creates the line, but it's a little bit of separation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that part of the paper is a little bit of more dried.
Okay.
And then, it was a harder, more saturated amount of orange.
Okay.
Yes, but you just get to play with it and see.
Wow, that is so cool.
All the different textures.
And just experimenting with this.
Yeah.
Is really fun. And just what it'll do. I've never done anything like this. And these colors are phenomenal. It's just, it seems like it's a whole different way of doing watercolor.
Yeah, and then I think you could just travel anywhere. That's what appealed to me the most when I first started using them, is that you can literally make your palette and then stick it in a sketchbook, and then you don't have to have any other paints with you.
So you can go out and so you just need the pen.
You literally just need these three things.
Okay.
And maybe paper towel.
I think I'm using a lot of water.
Yeah, more water, more transparent watercolor.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
I mean, you can even go back through while it's still wet and kind of darken it, but this is perfect if we're doing more of the aging of the leaf.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool. So let's see, what are we going to do? So we're going to do the wet on wet, and then we're going to do wet on dry. Let's fill up this next one.
Okay.
Kind of similar, but we're going to kind of give it the next layer, but we have to let it dry too. So similar, fill up the next one.
Okay. With the same kind of, the same things? Or different?
Maybe try to do just a little bit more oranges and yellows as it's dry, just a little bit, but still mostly green.
Okay.
Yeah, but whatever. Kind of however.
I'm going to, now I'm going for it here.
Yeah.
I just want to see I love the whole idea of let's see what happens.
Yes.
So, oh look, okay, that was, let's see.
And so one of my other favorite parts too is using complementary tones, since obviously watercolors are transparent kind of in nature. You can kind of mix the tones pretty quickly and get a kind of a scale between, and they're very, I guess what's the right word to explain it? complementary tones, like a green and like that kind of cancels each other's out and makes a muted
complement,
tone. Yeah, and then
red and green, purple and yellow, and blue and orange.
Exactly. So a green and this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's that. So instead of doing like a black or making that to be a darker tone, I like to use the complementary tones to create shadows because you get the same tone but generally a little bit darker and muted. Because usually in nature, if you see a shadow, it's not black.
Right.
It is like the same tone as the thing that's not in shadow, but just darker. So usually the complementary tones helps you get those kind of those things too. Which I feel like kind of at this stage watercolor can be a little bit more abstract too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but this is what I would just call like the first layer. So
wow, that's the first layer. I could see if you did this whole thing, that would be just
it would be gorgeous too. But that's just my first layer.
And I love that there's a lot of non-control also.
Yes,
that's
the
what
water,
it's doing. Yes.
The water is kind of deciding. And if you're trying to fight with the water and you add too much water, then you can kind of overwork your paper too. So sometimes you just have to chill and let it do it.
Chill. I love that.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So while those ones are drying, we're going to start getting our next ones down. So I wanted to teach you this technique with masking fluid.
Oh, okay.
So masking fluid is if you want to preserve an area and have it be a lighter and kind of get a lot of depth and texture and things down first, but you don't want to have to put anything over on top of it, and you kind of want those lines. So we're going to use the masking fluid to create our branches.
Okay.
Like these little
cool.
the veins in the leaves.
Okay.
And then we're going to fill in this whole area once it dries. And then once it dries, we're going to take the masking fluid off and reveal
underneath, which will be the white of the watercolor paper, right?
It'll be the white of the watercolor paper, and we'll do a little, textury things to kind of make it look a little bit more realistic. So we can put this masking fluid. We'll do a dish, and then that actually is what I forgot. Do you have like a toothpick or anything little sharp?
I have a X-Acto knife.
That might work.
Want me to get that?
Yeah, let's try that.
Okay.
Or like you probably don't have shish kebab skewers here, huh?
Have what?
Shish kebab skewers. We did that.
Oh.
Let
me see.
So we're going to put our masking fluid down.
Okay.
And usually you would use like a toothpick or a shish kebab skewer. You can use a paintbrush, which I often do, but it's kind of like a one-time use only thing because once it kind of gunks up with the masking fluid, you can't really get it out of the bristles.
Okay.
So I'll kind of show you what I'm going to do to get the thing here. And I actually love that this green is down here first because these, when they're like not as dried, are actually green and not white. So I feel like that's going to be really pretty.
Okay. Yeah. Am I going to put the masking fluid right on top of that?
You're going to put it over it, but then you're going to put the branches out.
Oh, okay.
But I really like that it's going to be white or yellow, or going to be the green under the masking fluid instead of white. I think it's going to be really cool.
See, yay mistakes.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I always say. I love them.
I love that.
Wow, look at that. Oops, so cool.
All right. So I'm just going to be, also again, I like a lot more not natural, but detailed, really small, tiny little things. So I'm following all the way up and then trying to go as close to that. So
you're really getting in the inspiration from an exact leaf.
Yeah.
So when you do things, you actually have the real thing with you.
A lot of times, or an amazing reference photo. I am a sucker for a reference photo.
And where do you find those?
Online, out of books, anything. I have started doing my own photography a little bit more too for my reference photos. But yeah, just wherever I see it, and then
nature has everything.
Nature has everything. It really does. So we're just going along, and
it's really interesting because we think we know what like a leaf is and the veins, but when you look at this in detail, some of the ones that go out, some go together. They kind of connect in the middle one, and some of them don't, and some are stronger, some are lighter. It's all an observation.
It really is, and I think they're so pretty. So I'm just doing mostly just the bigger veins.
Okay.
And then I'll hand this over to you.
So masking fluid.
Yeah.
Frisket mask liquid.
There's a bunch of different masking fluids. You kind of, there you are.
Oh, thank you.
So some of them they have our tinted yellow, which is a little bit nicer. Sometimes you can see it on the page a little bit easier.
Oh, yeah.
And then also some are yellow, but that also could mean that they're old and have stained. So you want to check the label and see if it is a tinted one or not, because if it is not tinted, that would stain your paper.
Okay.
So that is what you do not want. So
good to know.
Yeah.
And this is also good to know that you can actually do this over a color that's already there.
You can. There's actually a great video in the Peerless also that I think you would love. It's called watercolor pouring.
Oh,
it's
wow.
So cool. So you pretty much mask out the areas that you want to stay light, and then you pour watercolor over the whole paper.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the next layer you mask out the already painted areas that you want to be dark, like the next layer of light, and then you watercolor pour the entire paper again.
Okay,
and
I'm going to watch that one.
And you build your layers that way. So that's really fun.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Perfect.
I'm just kind of making this one up.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
Oh, is it too thick?
Nope, it's fine. It might take a little bit longer to dry, but that we're gonna let the layer dry after this next one anyway too. So.
Okay.
Oh, this turned out cool.
I love what you did there.
I love the edge. That looks like a total.
And that's the thing is, I'm going to have to add this to my art collection where, you know, art things to do, not necessarily collection. Oh, I forgot to look at the leaf. I'm just making it up.
It's okay. You're an artist too. You're allowed to free go it. You're absolutely allowed to do that.
Okay. Let's see. All right, I think I've got it.
They'll love it. That's
so
perfect.
what do we, water?
So unfortunately they don't, it's kind of like, because it's that plastic base. So sometimes, perfect, we got it off.
Okay.
So if you get it off in time, now the bristles are probably glued together now at this point, but it can also be I will save it to use it as masking fluid.
Okay.
So while that one's drying,
okay.
Usually in watercolor I work on 2 or 3 pieces at the same time too.
Okay.
So just because each layer kind of takes time to dry, that I like to kind of work in stages. Okay. So it works out perfect with this guy. So this one's drying, so we're going to work on this one.
Okay.
So this one we're creating texture. And so what we're going to do is lay down enough paint that it shimmers when you tilt the page, but it's not a puddle. And we are going to be using salt to create our texture.
Interesting.
It's going to be very cool. Okay. So this one we want to be the darkest because the contrast between the light and the dark is going to give us the most texture. Okay. So we're probably going to be working with a little bit of the greens, oranges, but then we're going to put a lot more of this blue. Okay. To kind of get that really cool texture. So this one you want to work a tiny bit faster. Okay. Now
I'm almost out of water here. I mean, do I have enough?
You have enough. Okay. And we have also this too, because we're going to I think maybe for this one we're going to mix on our paint palette too. So. Okay. Okay. So fill it up. Yeah. So we're going to go oranges.
I'm going to watch you first. The oranges. Okay.
Yeah. What is this? There's some pinks in there. Sure.
So all of this. Mm-hmm. Here we go. I'm going to have to buy myself whole bunch of these Peerless because these are just gorgeous.
They're so pretty, right?
I mean, and look, with this, you've got this pen. I mean, you can go anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Anywhere. It's like the perfect travel. And they have amazing, what are they called? Sketchbooks that have the most durable watercolor paper ever. They're so nice, and they're just like leather bound. They're so pretty.
Oh, wow.
It's my favorite.
So we're going to cover this one up too?
Yep.
Okay. Orange and reds. Okay, so I'm going to add some of this. All
right, so do you see? I want to show you real fast. Okay. Do you see how it shimmers? Ooh, and it's all wet, but it doesn't like puddle. Right. It moves a little bit. Okay. So that's what we kind of want. And at this stage, we're going to maybe outline, put some darker colors in here with the blue. Ooh. Okay. And then open our salt. And while it's still wet, that's the most important thing.
Okay, so I got to get on it.
Put the salt down.
Okay, there. And now the red.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah. Oh,
Whatever.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then
Now
some
put
of that
that- oh,
blue,
yeah.
so try to get the most contrast.
Okay.
And then we'll
And,
have to...
and just go like this?
Whatever, yeah. Whatever you want. I just kind of did a little bit of that little bit towards the leaves, but...
Okay.
Perfect. And then salt it up.
Okay. How much salt?
Whatever you want. If you put more, it's going to get a little bit more speckly.
Oh, I like speckles. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Fill it up.
Fill it up.
And we'll be able to tell, I guess, if it was wet or not, huh?
Oh, you can already tell. See, so the salt sucks up the paint around it, and that's what creates the texture. So all the salt is collected in the, or all the paint is
I
collected.
haven't used it all, but
Yeah,
pretty
no,
much.
that's perfect. Yeah.
That is really cool.
So we're right about there. So now we gotta let it wait. This is the patient part of the watercolor too. So now we have to let it dry completely before we're on to the next stage.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we are back. We have let this dry for about 10 minutes, probably 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So this guy, the salt on mine and yours a little bit, still need a little bit more time. But while this is drying, we're going to put our layer down over the masking fluid now that that has dried. And then we're going to do our second layer on these ones. So I'm trying to figure out how to not mess with that. But
Should we turn it upside down?
I was thinking maybe we could turn it.
Okay.
Maybe not even upside down, even just like that.
Okay.
And then we can let that dry, and then we're working on that part too.
Okay.
So, all right. So again, doing that wet on wet and kind of filling up this one. I think with this one, I might do a gradient. So why don't we start like yellow, orange, and then we'll kind of blend the yellow or the green and the orange together, and we'll kind of end at green to kind of give it like that really true maple like bleed. So what I'm going to do is going to put down clean water first and just get that top half.
Both sides?
Yep. Okay. Just a little bit wet. And then I'm going to start with my orange, my lighter orange.
Oh, that's good. I've never did, yeah. This is new.
So then we'll kind of go like this, and it kind of gives it that softer blend. And then I'm going to grab my...
God, look how vibrant this yellow is.
Isn't it so pretty? The other orange, and then just keep adding it as we go down and trying to get more and more in the middle. And maybe the pink and the orange next.
Oh, this is so cool.
And this usually doesn't happen. I think it's the type of brush that I'm using, but you don't really want the water to pick up like that. But it still works because I'm all using the same tones anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put some pink in there.
Ooh. I love orange, yellow, and pink.
Right?
Wow.
And then I'm gonna get I'm gonna switch because now my thing is super.
And do you let these bleed or want them to bleed into each other?
Mm-hmm. And then we're gonna go down into that small one. I'll work with the small one. And see also too, if you get like too big of a puddle, just use your paper towel, suck it up.
Okay.
Now we're just gonna try to get some green in there. I might have used all my green.
Here.
That's all right. You can use it. I'm gonna grab.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, nice dark green.
Ooh, the dark green.
You want some of that?
Yes.
If you have a lighter green, you can use that one.
Thanks. Oh, yeah, I love this dark green. That's awesome.
And I might just throw some salt on that too anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? I like the why not.
I love the salt. It's probably my favorite for texture.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? Sure.
Okay, and this has we put in the whole thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
You put thin salt or the small grain and the large grain.
Like any kind of pepper grinder, I put rock salt, not the bigger rock salt, and you can get because it's cool to have different sizes.
Yeah.
So this next one, this is kind of where how we like to do the detailed. So we're actually going to break this into two. So this first one, we are going to do just the veins with the smaller brush. So you're going to use this little one. So different ways to do it.
Okay.
I'm going to put here. Sometimes you want a puddle of paint. And so when you are using this paintbrush, so it kind of goes like this. Even when it's skinnier, it's always kind of adding more water, right?
Uh-huh.
And so when you're using this is going to stay the same tone. And throughout like the whole thing, it's just going to be a little bit easier. I want to make it a little bit darker first.
Okay.
So
when you put it in there, you just add water and you add that and just let it kind of
saturate
drop off? Yeah.
Saturate all the paint and kind of get it on there and then let it run off.
That's so
into
cool.
here. So this is a beautiful color. I want it to be a little bit darker of that green. So I'm going to put some orange in it. And it just shifts it just slightly.
Look, yeah, that was gorgeous.
A little one of this darker blue. And then it's just going to shift it. And maybe a little bit more. Oh, maybe a little bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. There
that's perfect.
So now
mixing colors.
Yes. We're gonna pretty much do what we did on those veins. So, but we're just going to do on here. So if you want to look how they kind of come out.
Oh yeah.
Like this.
Yep.
We're going to try to do it on this side and just the outline, and then this side, we're going to try to do the opposite. Okay. If it makes sense. I'll explain.
I'm going to watch you first.
Okay. So, let's see. We're going to go straight down.
Okay. Okay.
You know, we're just trying to get kind of close to what it is.
I love having all these examples of all the different techniques. This is amazing. And even this.
I'm glad you like it.
I love this.
And I'm going to try to get as much and just getting smaller and smaller as we're going.
I'll do the big things first to see. Okay.
And this is called wet on dry.
Oh, okay.
Since we've let that first layer dry, and now we're working wet again. And you can see how sharp and crisp these lines you can get. You wouldn't be able to get this sharp if it was still wet. They would kind of bleed through. So you have to let it dry and be patient so you can get that next layer of or texture or whatever you want to call it too. So
the leaves are just gorgeous.
Yay.
And a light touch, huh?
Yep. And the smaller you lift up and the lighter you can get a little bit skinnier line and whatever. I guess we can make it more green too if you want more of a green. You can do that on the next one. That's that one again.
That is so cool. I think mine are a little too thick, but that's okay.
You get the idea though.
Yep, I sure do.
Okay, so now this one, now that we kind of remembered like kind of where these lines are, this one we're going to try to do the opposite. So what I feel like we'd maybe just do, I would place them first. We're going to do a double line, so.
A double line, okay.
Okay, double line, because what we're going to try to do is leave out that center and then fill in the second layer. So instead of drawing the line, we're filling in.
Oh, okay. Now I see.
The second layer and leaving that line to create that stem or whatever they're called. And it's actually the first layer.
It's kind of the negative space.
Yes, exactly. So we're trying to make a negative space. And so this is also wet on dry, but the negative space version. And
never would have thought of any of this.
Isn't that fun?
Yes. Very cool. I'm going to have to write down all the steps on the back of this so I remember.
Yours are definitely much faster than mine. I was like, oh, okay, this is a, but you could just do like one whole leaf and that could have been just one tutorial, I guess. I wanted to show you.
I love, and thank you so much for thinking of doing each one, because now I feel like I remember how to do it, even though I am going to write it on the back, but.
So, and you can see now, so that looks really pretty and it works really well for.
Wow, look.
Yeah, totally. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, use a bigger brush.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I should have, yeah.
Oh, that's a good.
You can use this one or yours.
That's all right.
Yeah, you want to fill it in a little bit. And I think on this one, I'm going to use that same darker color that we made, and I'm going to dot it in the center.
Okay.
And just kind of create a darker, those weird speckles again. Any kind of texture. I love the texture in watercolor.
Wow. I never thought of watercolor like this. This is a different experience. Oh, I put the blue. Whatever.
That's fine.
Oh, no, that's the green.
Whatever. Yeah, no, that's green. Definitely.
Okay. And then you did the what?
And then I just kind of put more dots of the brown. I also outlined it in the green, so it kind of connects on the outside.
Oh,
yeah.
This side?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to, but yeah, that's.
I just want to experiment, like, okay, what is that like?
Yeah, you can outline it. You can, yeah. I mean, it's so cool too. Like even if you have no paint on your brush and you just pick up the blue and you outline it in this, it looks so cool. Like see how.
Yes, I love that. I might have to do that too.
Yeah, so you can do it with red. You can do it with the blue. It's gonna look pretty cool. Especially, I mean, these colors and fall colors. I feel like they're the most textured on the leaves too. Like I brought a bunch more. Let's see. There we go. Oh. I guess I could have shown you some more. Where's this one I was looking at?
How about that? I'm going to take a little bit of that.
And I was like, that looks
look.
so cool. Yeah, like that's totally the salt.
Yes.
That one, I was like, I think you make like masking fluid and then do.
Yes.
Like that.
So just collecting leaves and all that. Wow.
Totally.
Okay. Uh-oh. Well, anyway.
Yeah. But then if you're like, oh no, I kind of lost all of my pieces, then you could just let it dry and then do that also again. So.
But I love this. Okay.
So it looks like that's pretty wet. It might take too long to dry, so I would take the corner and dab.
Okay.
Just a little bit, just to kind of save a little bit of time. Or you can let it dry and have it be super bright, but it will take a little longer.
But I still kind of like to do it this way. So do I do it up here?
Yeah, just to kind of give it a little nudge to dry.
Okay.
Also, if an area is too dark, you can kind of wet it again and then pick it up with some watercolor.
Okay.
Which we might try to do that too. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now we gotta let it dry again.
Okay. Now, how do I pick this up? Just like with this?
With that. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So there's one way to do it. Here, I can show you real fast. It's so fun.
Okay.
So then this is already dry, right?
Uh-huh. And
we're gonna start with a dry paper towel. This is one of my other favorite tools for adding texture with greens, especially. There's a snake plant tutorial. And we just did another one with the feather. So you're going to use clear water, right?
Okay.
Nothing on it.
Okay.
And you're going to create the lines that you would like to pick up. Oops, that was a little too much. And you don't see it that much when it's on there.
But then if I dab it?
You just lay it right over.
Okay.
This might be too light. You might not see it. But definitely once this one dries, see like.
Oh, I like that.
Look at this.
Yes. See, I love that.
Yeah. Super fun. So that is a lifting technique.
Okay. I love that.
And usually you have to have a couple more layers of paint and it darker before you get a ton of the contrast.
So you can do that with the dry, huh?
But yeah, to get the sharper lines like this, it has to be completely dry.
Uh-huh.
And then on yours, you'll get kind of more of a fan because the paper's still a little wet.
Okay.
So yeah, to lift up the most paint, you want it to dry.
I'm just going for it.
Yeah, totally.
Let's see what happens. I love that. That is so cool.
I'm just going for it now too. I'm usually much more detailed too, so I'm like, this is fun. trying.
Yeah, it's fun from a totally abstract person to, a very detailed person. And I'm just like, okay, well, let's just experiment. Let's just try.
I love it. I love it. All right, let's see. Let's see what I did on there.
That's good to me.
Yeah, super fun.
Wow. I love this. And are we going to do anything with the stem?
Yeah, we can do the stem now. That's perfect.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. Whatever you want to do.
Oh, this is yours.
No, it's okay. I got one.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. That one's all filled. I mean, whatever color. I guess it's
Okay.
between the stages of the leaf, so it really doesn't matter if you want a green stem or more of an orangey brown stem.
I think I'm going to do both.
Yeah.
I'm going to see.
I'm
I'm going to do one and then one right next to it.
Yeah.
Just to see what happens. I love experimenting. You can tell. I love experimenting.
I love it. I like that green.
Yeah. And probably darker at the bottom, huh? I don't know.
I did darker at the top.
Oh, you did? That's so funny.
It is funny. Yep, it just depends. Personal preference.
I know. A little too much blue. So let me do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lift it up. And then it's dried, pretty much dried.
Yeah.
That
so
you
I can
can add
go over
whatever,
it.
yeah, whatever layer. Mm-hmm.
So I'll do the orange over it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Totally.
Won't be able to see a whole lot of it, but that's all right.
Well, I'm sure too, because you have those transparent paper, right? And you can kind of like see what colors mix.
Yes.
So instead of using like acrylics, you know, if you put down a blue and let it dry, you can't put down necessarily, unless you make it more transparent, you can't put down a yellow and make a green. The yellow is just going to cover up the blue.
Right.
With watercolors, they're transparent. So if you have a blue and then put a yellow over it, you're going to get green.
And each one of the paints is, in acrylic, it will show you on the label if it's more transparent or more opaque.
Yes, exactly. So you kind of work in stages with watercolor. You work from lightest to darkest, and then you kind of lay down your lighter tones. And as you're building your colors, you kind of have to be aware.
So light to dark.
Light to dark.
And in many realistic paintings, you go from dark to light.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, especially with like skin tone and things like that, you start with a almost transparent kind of beigey like wash over the whole thing, and then you start adding. So yeah, it's so cool. Very different.
I love that.
So we gotta let it dry again, and then we'll be able to remove the salt and the masking fluid and see if we want to do any last little bits.
I love this.
So we have let it dry for the second and third layer, and now we are going to remove our salt and masking fluid and do finishing touches, either with, we got a artist pen, the Micron, so it's permanent too. So if you want to do another layer over it, it's not going to bleed or move around the page. One of my favorite things to use is a gel pen. This one seems to be a little bit more transparent. So we also have white ink that you use with just a little tiny paintbrush too, to add all of our finishing details. So,
okay.
And then to remove the salt, we're going to use a dry, you can use this, or use your hand, and you're just going to brush it off to reveal all of that awesome texture.
Wow. Some of these details.
And it totally gets that texture.
And you can tell, where you can see them the most. Look at this color. Look at even the salt.
Yeah. Oh, I know, right? All the paint's in the salt. And it's so sparkly now, too. Oh, I love it.
Wow.
I love those ones right there. That looks awesome.
These are really cool.
Isn't it cool texture? So most of the time, you're just going to be able to rub the masking fluid off. If there's a part that's a little bit more sticky,
I see.
The end of an eraser works.
Oh, this is actually coming off pretty well.
Yeah, you just kind of ball it up, and then it can remove it. Oh, you could see, too, I didn't quite let that part of my paper dry.
Oh.
So it kind of picked up a little bit of that. That would be, the only thing is just let it dry, 5 more minutes or something, and it wouldn't have done that.
And even though I asked Caitie while we were waiting that you don't have, I could see the lines and everything. So I said, can I just leave it? And she said, yeah, you could if you like that look. But I kind of like this much better. Look at this. You can see it's much sharper.
Much sharper. And then, yeah, you could do multiple layers of it and get things. I mean, you wouldn't want to rub this and kind of just, overwork the paper, but for our painting, it kind of works. Gives it like another texture to do. So I do a lot of black outlining on my paintings and drawings. I kind of feel like it makes more of an illustrated look.
Okay.
So you could use that. And then let's see if this works on here. This gives us a nice kind of softer, really tiny for all those little white highlights that are really skinny. You could do if you want.
That's a gel pen?
That's a gel pen. That's one of my favorites. Okay. And then, yeah, like if you want like one part to be more like an illustration, like a science illustration, I feel like it's more, with the actual leaves. Where's my leaf again? Leaf. And then you can kind of just go through it. Like it's just all personal preference and, how you want to style it, really.
I love that. I'm going to try this and see what this is like.
And then I'll kind of pour some of that white out for you to try too.
Okay. I'm going to go over the dark just to see.
Yeah. See? That one looks, maybe it's a little bit used. I can do.
I like this.
Let's see.
It stands out. Makes that stand out.
A little bit of water. So,
yeah, this part needed something.
Yeah, just different.
That's so cool.
If you want to try that. So like white highlights in eyes, and especially it like on fur and doing individual hairs like on top of it, even if it's a darker animal and a dark fur, wherever that white kind of highlights are, using a white outline on top of the watercolor just to make them super pop. So there's
this could be endless, right?
It's endless. Yeah. It is totally endless. It's just
really
the very tip of it. You could do the same thing. Like with, let's see, where's that?
You need this?
Nope, I have the other one somewhere. Here it is. Use this color again, but over this now, you can see, use the green actually. Just finishing touches, really light.
Yeah.
And then you have the texture of the salt and then.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. It's just whatever you want to do. It's like all of the techniques in one. So you got wet on wet and the wet on dry and then lifting, and then you have that little negative space and the wet on wet and dry for the second layer. We have masking fluid and then wet on wet again and then salt for texture. We got illustrated outlines and we got white highlights and complementary pizzazz.
That was like a course, okay? Just so you know. I mean, from literally when we started, I didn't even know how to use this.
Yeah.
And here we have all these techniques in one. Yes. So this is like a course.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Wow.
So, and that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and share with your friends, and we will see you next time.